Hey, welcome back. We're glad you're here. Today I want to talk about some things that you need to do before you purchase a property or even before we go and start looking for a property. So the first thing that I think is super important is that you need to get pre-approved. If you're not pre-approved, then you're going into people's houses, you don't know if you can afford it, you don't know what your payment's gonna be, what that's gonna look like. So that's a super important thing for you to do. We'll get you with some good lenders and let's get started. Okay, so when you start talking about being able to afford a home, you need to get that pre-approval with the lender. And the reason is there are lots of things that go into different properties. Debt to income ratio will affect it, your credit score obviously will affect it. And all of that will go together to figure out what your down payment is, how much you can afford each month. And then there are other things, especially in Texas, is taxes. That's gonna add to your payment. And then if you're in a property that has a mud or a PID, that's going to be an extra assessment also that you have to add monthly. So it's super important that you go get pre-approved first so that you can figure out how much you can afford. Worst thing would be getting to the closing table and finding out that you can't afford the house that you think you're getting ready to move into. When you go under contract, there's some important things that you're going to have to consider that are going to be expenses to you. If you're already in a house, then you're already paying either rent or a mortgage. When you go under contract, you're going to have to think about what is your down payment, and the lender can help you with that. You're also going to have to consider that there's going to be extra money that you're going to have to add for your escrow account for taxes and insurance. And then you're also going to have some extra funds for inspections. There's a regular home inspection, there's termite inspections, there's also septic inspections. If you have a septic tank, you might want a roof inspection. There are different things that go into that, and some are expensive and some are not so expensive. So that's something that we'll run through and talk about all those numbers. And then in addition to that, you're also going to have some extra fees that may or may not be negotiated in, like you have to get HOA documents. Are you paying for that, or is the seller paying for that? Then there's also surveys and some other different things. So just make sure that that's something that you're prepared to have a slush fund for those things.